Hello, today for review I've got ikko's new addition to the affordable earphones lineup, a model named OH2. I was really curious about this model. I wanted to hear it because before ikko created two opposite types of tuning, either natural dry end monitoring like OH1 and OH1S, or vice versa, more fun, bassy and so on, it's like OH10. So I was really wondering which path OH2 should go. And they found some interesting dynamic driver and packed it in their typical signature case, set the price at $80, creating a pretty promising offer. I will add link to the AliExpress shop in the description, and they also asked me to tell that they prepared special version of OH2 for 14th of February for St. Valentine's Day in more fancy package and looks even more attractive, and it can be a nice gift for your beloved one. And anyway, let's have a closer look at the classical or traditional version. It came in a pretty fancy box with great design, and also you can get this plastic figurine. I'm not sure what is the purpose and actually why this trend captured the industry so fast, but that anime-like girls are everywhere, so I'm not sure why, but whom I am to judge. And also with this package you're getting a fridge magnet, so it's interesting that it fits into this cut on the box. I didn't notice it at first. And in terms of package and polygraphy, it's a really complicated and sophisticated thing. You can see interesting combination of materials, some shiny foiled inserts, some embossing and so on. So they really did a lot of things to grab attention and make some positive impression. And on the back side they slightly described the sound signature and pictured some frequency response. Let's dig into this box. You can see that design is really stands out from the vast majority of models. And here are earpieces themselves. It's absolutely unique. You can see they added special stripes to pull models out by pulling them. Really interesting touch, but it doesn't save me from losing one. Also you're getting ikko's signature pin with Fox, some papers, different set of tips. You can see that here used oval ones, 6 pairs of regular silicone and 3 pair of foams. Storage pouch familiar by other ikko products. Here you get tool for cleaning and disconnecting MMCX and a set of extra filters. And of course stock cable also supplied here. Here it is. And for the it's not for the tips, but there is a separate frame. Probably it was here around this part to make everything even more refined and better looking. So as you can see, in terms of packaging, it's absolute masterpiece. In terms of design and build quality, this model definitely reminds the previous much more affordable model. It uses interesting combination of metal alloy and transparent plastic. And actually, not sure if video will show it or not, but inside you can see some kind of PCB. I don't know what PCB is doing here, because basically it doesn't need a crossover. Maybe it's just a decoration element, but I must admit that it looks really interesting and stylish, and definitely surpasses expectations for this price tire, because you can see it yourself. It looks really fancy. They are comfortable in wearing. Inner part is really smooth and well rounded, fitting to vast majority of ears. Here is a pressure relief hole. They have a pretty extended spout, so they go deep into the ears and provide slightly above average sound isolation. Not sure why they decided to use oval spouts, but luckily there is a big set of tips, so you'll definitely find something that will suit your taste and will provide you a good fit, so the shape of the spout itself is not an issue. And here is a replaceable filter. You can disconnect it and change. As far as I understood, the replaceable filters here doesn't change the sound. It's made to simplify cleaning and maintenance. And I still continue to admire the design and outlook. Stock cable is nice and actually, in my opinion, fitting the design of this model. It uses MMCX connectors. Probably in the affordable price tire I'd prefer 2-pin connectors, but they decided to use MMCX. Wire itself made of high quality material, but in terms of softness it's average. It's not super hard, but it's definitely not one of that super soft cables, so keep that in mind. But at the same time it looks really fancy, and thanks to ear hooks, microphonic effect is not high. They are good in reducing this. Here is a splitter with chin slider, and after the splitter it goes twisted in spiral down to the regular 3.5mm jack. So in general, as you can see, in terms of design, wearing comfort and stuff, everything is also done on a really good level. And of course, about the sound, I gave them about 36 hours of burn-in, but there were no big changes in sound. So in my opinion, if you'll decide to get this model, you can start enjoying it instantly. As a player, to show examples, I will use Astel & Kern SP2000. And if I'll have to describe the sound of these earphones in one word, it will be smooth. But smooth in a good meaning of this word, because they are not over smoothed, they not sound too soft or fluffy. But at the same time, ikko boosted low frequencies here, making enjoyable and solid bass representation. So in general, I'd say, answering that question from the beginning of this review, that OH2 is leaning more towards OH10, but at the same time not following fully that way, because they have softer and more comfortable treble. But at the same time, representation is pretty musical, engaging and fun. Low frequencies go to a really good depth, maybe not maximum, but a deeper layer of bass is present here. You just need to find the tips that will provide you proper sound isolation to get the optimum bass pressure. And the resolution is also really nice. It's not superb, but nice. Low frequency sounds clean, with good amount of detalization, and nice texturing representation. But at the same time, they not sound too dry or too fast, so really good balance of resolution and weight. And at the same time, they have a good impact, meaning that they will fit nicely both electronic music or some acoustical instruments. So in terms of low frequencies, it's pretty universal. Model probably is not a bass head, but accent on bass is present, and low frequencies plays important role in the representation, but not too shadowing the mids, not trying to fill all available space. They remain pretty well controlled. And as an example, in terms of low frequencies example, it will be pretty predictable this time. It's Massive Attack, Teardrop, track that is filled with different type of low frequencies that goes from left to right and vice versa, from backward to forward, and in your face, so all different type of bass layers, and these earphones build this foundation really nicely and in an engaging way. And at the same time they have a good detalization of the mid frequencies to represent the rest of the track. Mid frequencies are also done in traditional dynamic driver manner. They're not trying to be super fast or super sharp, super analytical, focused on the micro contrast, but resolution in general is normal. They're not boosting macro dynamics too high, but slightly accenting emotions. And also a hint of additional weight is present here on the mid frequencies too, but also not too much, so just a bit of additional body for the vocal and instrument. They slightly boosting upper mid area and lower treble too to balance bass, but at the same time they definitely don't sound sharp or super harsh. Imaginary stage is slightly above average, but it's common to my ears that models that is leaning towards the weighty representation sound slightly more intimate for me. But at the same time, separation of instruments both in width and in depth is normal. They just more coupled together, but not too much, so it's still pretty decent in building all that 3D stage. But of course keep in mind that it's for its price and so on. Model is not super critical for the quality of recording, but better material as usual will give you better results. And as an example I've got Louis Armstrong, really good compilation if you, or actually album, Louis and the Good Book. If you want to enjoy his talent fully, it's a good disc to start with. And Didn't It Rain, classical song that is performed by a classical voice. I don't see much sense in going deep into describing what you'll hear. You've heard it, or if you haven't heard it, just go and do that. And thanks to that slight hint of additional weight, actually Louis Armstrong voice sounds slightly more accented and more weighty and more impressive, so it's just boosting it a little bit. And treble is accented to compensate low frequencies, but sorry, it's too late to drop them. So, but it's not harsh or sharp or sibilant. It's that type of treble representation that will fit vast majority of preferences if you don't like the boosted treble and prefer it in a more comfortable manner. But at the same time, resolution is actually normal. Extension is about average or slightly above average, so don't expect super extended treble or high overtone saturation. But for this price, treble is pretty fun and clear, giving a good amount of basic overtones and compensating low frequencies nicely. So in this aspect, it's done almost good, fitting that probably we can call that mass market sound, but it's what they are targeted for. And as an example for the treble, I've got Igorrr, track named eeuD, and it's a great example of avant-garde music. In one track you're getting everything, a bit of opera, a bit of classical music, some dubstep like bass drops, hints of black metal, so almost everything. And a lot of that stuff goes directly to the treble area, and sometimes with models that have a boosted treble it sounds too sharp. But with this model it sounds comfortable, but at the same time not too softened, so you're getting nice amount of details. Of course, to get the full treble performance for this track you'll need something much more expensive, but for this price tier it's good, and it's made for those who want comfortable treble representation but not over softened. In terms of pairing, they are pretty universal. They will be good even with smartphone, but some simple digital to analog converter or entry-level player will make them sound at the full potential. And speaking about the conversions, actually can't recall any model with similar tuning, because for example Moondrop Aria has slightly less weight and more boosted treble, for example, or FIO FD1, it's more natural, more focused on the micro contrast and so on. Wizard's HE01, it's a more typical V-shaped model with also more boosted treble. Maybe I forgot some other models, but something like Teen Hi-Fi, for example, it's also closer to neutrality. And another mass market favorite, blondes, are more softer, more warmer with less definition. In my opinion, subjectively I prefer this model more. It's also for those who like low frequency and comfortable representation, but actually delivering more details and doing it in a more natural manner. So, to summarize everything, it was ikko OH2, good model for non-audiophiles looking for the comfortable and engaging representation, but still with a nice amount of technicality. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a nice day.